Need an assist on finding a new vehicle? Head to Bob Moore Ford because we're dishing out deals on our entire inventory, like the 2013 F-150 or F-250. Pick yours, then roll out. Visit BobMooreFordOKC.com for a chance to win our monthly prize.
Durant, pull-up jumper, off the rim, and and the Thunder win!
Oh, come on, let's sing the Thunder song.
Wait.
When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared. Just grab your Thunder buddy and say these magic words.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Thunder Buddies podcast presented by Bob Moore Ford. Post-game 5, pre-game 6. I'm here with Darnell Mayberry, who's wearing a black shirt right now. Are you going back to OKC planning for a funeral?
No, I'm not. Not this time. The
last
time we were going back home, I was thinking sweep. But
I think we were questioning. Yeah, we were questioning if the games were even going to be necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Even though what we saw last night, I mean, we've seen in this series how quickly things can change. I actually don't even think the Thunder are out of it.
I don't either. They got a chance, but a lot has to happen.
Yeah, but a lot had to happen for the Spurs yesterday, and they got it done. They made the proper adjustments.
What'd you think of Pop starting Matt Bonner? Everyone kind of assumed Diaw. What'd you think of him going with Matt Bonner?
I thought it was interesting. I think it made the Thunder really think. With Diaw, you know, he can shoot threes, but that's not what he's known for. With Bonner, I think it was like, you know, Ibaka probably felt strange early on, like, oh, well, like, I really can't leave this guy, and he's no threat. And then I thought it kind of, I mean, I guess the first quarter wasn't an issue for the Thunder offensively, but, you know, Ibaka went 0 for his first 5. He was, like, trying to do stuff he doesn't normally do, which is, like, ISO, post.
He was trying to take him off the dribble, and it was just awkward.
Yeah.
Didn't work for Ibaka on that end, so.
And then I think, you know, Bonner missed, you know, pretty much all. I think he didn't even make a 3. So I thought Pop was right in putting Boris Diaw to start the second half and playing him a ton. I'd probably expect Diaw to start Game 6 and get a ton of minutes for the rest of the series.
Why not stick with Matt Bonner?
Because I mean, Bonner just kind of didn't work.
You know what? I mean, I wouldn't say it didn't work. I'll say it wasn't as effective as they probably hoped. He didn't force anything, and that's what I liked about Matt Bonner. He didn't go in there and say, okay, just because I got a shot blocker guarding me at the three-point line, I'm not going to jack up every shot every time the ball is swung my way. So I really loved Matt Bonner's patience, but he still sucked Serge from the basket, which is all they really wanted to do. Whether he made shots or missed them, whether he took them or didn't, Serge still had to respect him out there.
Yeah, but Diaw hit a couple outside shots, and Diaw does so much other than shooting.
The one thing I wonder if Pop will stick with that, because that allows your depth to grow. You have more depth all of a sudden when you start Bonner, play him 4 or 5 minutes, maybe even 6, however long, you know, you can get away with it. And then you bring Diaw off the bench. And like he did in the second half, you can always start him to start the second half if you really feel like it. But I thought it just increased their depth.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, you never know with Bonner. I mean, I know he wasn't great yesterday, but he could start a game and hit 3 threes in the first 5 minutes, and then, you know, he's giving you what he's needed that game.
Exactly. The biggest issue that I saw from the Spurs perspective with starting Matt Bonner was that they just attacked him relentlessly in the pick and roll. I mean, that was the game plan. As soon as they saw Matt Bonner, whether it was Reggie Jackson or Russell Westbrook, they were attacking that ball screen and turning the corner on him. Either they were splitting it or attacking it with a head of steam and really just exploiting him in the pick and roll. His foot speed, his lack of foot speed, I should say, his lack of lateral quickness. They were really just abusing him early, and that's why Reggie Jackson got off to such a great start. But then they yanked Bonner, and as you saw, Reggie Jackson, 5 of 5, 11 points in the first quarter, 0 for 5, 0 points the rest of the way.
Yeah. How about the other adjustments? They put Leonard on Westbrook, and then Danny Green onto Durant, which, we could talk about a lot of things, but that's a lot of respect for Russell Westbrook. And if I'm Kevin Durant, that's kind of a sign of disrespect. Oh, your best defender? You said, oh, we got to take him off of me and put him on Russell Westbrook?
If I'm Kevin Durant, I'm embarrassed today. Now, he probably won't be, but he should be. He cannot let the Spurs get away with putting Danny Green, and Manu Ginobili, to his credit, did a great job on him, but he can't let those guys get away with that. He's got to punish them.
And he had Greg Popovich basically publicly say, we're a little bit more worried about Russell Westbrook at this point.
And rightfully so. I mean,
Yeah.
Russ has been the MVP, as we said on the last episode. He's been the MVP for the Thunder this postseason.
Nothing changed yesterday.
Nothing changed yesterday. Slater, you're riling me up.
I have zero issue with riling you up.
You're riling me up right now. I got to tell you, my leg's shaking.
All right.
I might go on a tangent here in a second.
How can I make it so you explode?
I'm disappointed in Kevin Durant.
Explain.
He's the MVP. He's widely considered the second best player in the world. He's the leader of this team. And he's been disappointing. He's been disappointing not just in this series, but he's been disappointing in the postseason. And to me, he's got to be better. He's talked all this time about another level that he can take it to.
Yeah.
Where is that level?
I think the energy's an issue.
The energy is the biggest issue. Because, see, now you're smiling. See, because you know what you're doing. You're baiting me at this point. And I'm not hating on Kevin Durant. I'm asking more of Kevin Durant. Like I said, the MVP, second best player in the world, the leader of this team. Most people say he's the best player on this team. I questioned that on the last episode, and I didn't see anything in Game 5 to make me back off from wanting to question that or needing to question that. I don't want to question it. But Russell Westbrook plays with a fire and a fury that Kevin Durant has got to learn.
And we've seen it at times. I mean, there's been games this season. Remember the Houston game after
the regular season?
Yeah, where he torched your boy Francisco, and you were over there. I think you were crying on press row, yelling Francisco. But he torched him. Remember the Paul George game, and everyone was giving Paul George so much love, and then he comes in, kills Paul George, and it was after
LeBron James game in Miami.
Yeah.
Where is that Kevin Durant?
I agree.
This is the time we need to see it the most. And he's just kind of coasting through games. This ain't the regular season no more, bruh.
We need the Kevin Durant that you write the story about how great Paul George is and how he's ascended to the level, and then he goes and torches Paul George and walks on the sidelines and looks at you and says, right about that.
Like, he can't be motivated only when we write something or put a horrible headline on the front page of the sports section. He's got to be motivated every single night, like Russell Westbrook.
You want to spice up the playoffs a little bit?
You got another headline suggestion?
That's what I'm saying. You're writing about Durant for tomorrow. Headlines are open. Readers, you have a few hours.
Hashtag what's the headline?
Hashtag Mr. What this time? Nope.
I just
We're all
can't
agree with you. Look, a lot of people listening are probably thinking we're unfairly criticizing the guy that's still averaging 30 in the playoffs.
He's been solid.
He's still clearly an incredible player, and I mean, so skilled, so potent, and at any time can go off for 40. But remember this season, I mean, where he was like the unquestioned MVP, and people were starting to say, it's not ridiculous to start having this debate on who's the best player ever. And this postseason can decide, and this was people talking in the regular season saying,
not best player ever, best player.
My bad, not best player ever.
Best
Current player in the world. They're saying, LeBron still got the title, but if Durant can have a great playoffs and they can win the championship, maybe he can take it from LeBron because he played better than LeBron in the regular season. There was no question about that. But then this playoffs, LeBron, as we've seen, as we expected, has taken his game to a ridiculous level. Russell Westbrook's taking his game to another level. Durant probably slipped a little bit, really. I mean, we talked about it. I think he's shooting 45%. And it's not all efficiency. I agree with you. It's the energy, and it's that. And do you think he'll get, if the Thunder lose in Game 6 or Game 7 and he doesn't have a huge game, how much criticism do you think he'll get?
A ton. I think, you know what, there's one or two things going on with Kevin Durant right now. One, he's just physically, emotionally spent. He's drained. The minutes that he's played this season have been astronomical in the regular season and postseason. And I think he's either physically exhausted or just mentally spent, where he doesn't even have it anymore mentally. And that's the way it looks, frankly. I mean, the way he's on the court, his demeanor, his passiveness.
Remember when he was the Slim Reaper, and I mean, it was just
we're
dominating.
Not seeing any
games,
of that anymore.
Dominating games.
So I think it's either that, which I'm hoping it's that, and not the second thing that I'm thinking of, which is LeBron James circa 2011 NBA Finals.
You're right.
And nobody's talking about
let's
it.
Let's be honest, it ain't that bad.
It's not that bad, but here's why it is bad. Number one, the energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not there. Number two, he's not, and this is more important to me, but they go hand in hand. He's not impacting the game in any other way other than scoring. And even when he's scoring, like you said, his efficiency is down. His scores don't really come at timely moments like Russell Westbrook's do.
And they don't come at the rim anymore.
They're like contested pull-up jump shots that are kind of hero shots. I mean, when he makes them, they're great. When he misses them, you got people like me who don't know anything criticizing him. So that to me is the bigger issue.
I think that was your best point of the day. People like you that don't know anything.
Perhaps. But someone entrusted me with a podcast, so I'm going to speak my mind.
No, I talked about it earlier this season.
Do something else that impacts the game. Go rebound the ball. Go make your teammates better with the pass. Go play some great defense. Don't let 6 players for the Spurs get in double figures.
Tell us how you really feel about Kevin Durant's performance, Darnell. Please.
Be one of those guys. Be the guy that stops at least one of those guys. If Tony Parker's going off, switch yourself on to Tony Parker. If Kawhi Leonard's going off, switch on to Kawhi Leonard. If Manu Ginobili, who's had a hell of a series, is torching you, be the man to say, I'm the MVP. I got to stop Manu Ginobili. Don't rely on Reggie Jackson to stop Manu Ginobili. You go and stop Manu Ginobili.
I mean, everything you're saying is valid. I don't know how much, there are a lot of kind of, I don't want to call them blind Durant supporters, but I mean,
I call them blind Durant supporters. And you know why? He's done a lot for the city. He's done a lot for the state. He's as classy as they come.
Second best player in the NBA.
He's been a gift to all of Oklahoma. He's made this NBA journey an amazing ride. But he's still got to be better.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just to defend him, because my Lord, this guy, in front of me.
You did it.
I know.
I told you before the podcast.
I wanted to set off this explosion, and now
I told you before the podcast.
I
needed to chill a little bit. I told you that, and then you purposely riled me up. I told you that, Slater. So
hey, Swaggy D's enjoying this though.
Swaggy D told us we need to liven up our podcast. So I blame both of you.
There's only one way to liven it up. That's more Swaggy D. Anyway, just to kind of, come in and mop up a little bit. I mean, maybe this is just the part of the learning process. You mentioned Durant in 2011, even LeBron in 2011, even LeBron in 2010, his last season in Cleveland. Remember that series against Boston, where the whole Delonte West rumors were flying,
right?
And he kind of disappeared. He rips off the Cavs jersey. It's the last time we see him in a Cavs jersey. I mean, he was only what then? Probably 25, 26?
Something like that, yep.
So that's right where Durant is. And, sometimes you got to go through this. These playoff trials, and, maybe It'll be something that's better for him down the road. But he's only 25. You go, almost every superstar has gone through. They've hit these teams that they struggle against, or these, rough patches in the postseason. I mean, he's still a ridiculous talent, and he hasn't had it. Like, we're talking like he's averaging 10. I mean, remember LeBron in those finals? Like, it's far worse than.
Yeah, he's not
doing.
MIA, but he's
I think you
10
said it,
times more gifted as a scorer than LeBron.
I think you said
okay?
it. Yeah.
Let's clear that up. So Kevin Durant can roll out of bed and score 25 points a game.
Yeah, but so can LeBron. I mean, in different ways, but LeBron's. There's nothing anyone in the world is 10 times more gifted at than LeBron is at everything in basketball.
Kevin Durant is a much better. I'm exaggerating, but Kevin Durant is a much better pure scorer, exactly, than LeBron James.
Shooter, because LeBron's a scorer. Like he's I'm gonna get buckets. I'm gonna drive by you.
No. LeBron had to. The LeBron you see now is not the LeBron that we saw at this stage and when he came into the league.
Yeah, but
when he was at the same stage as Durant now, like LeBron had to work on his 3-point shot. He couldn't shoot a lick when he came into the league. He couldn't post up until 2-3 years ago.
Nearly like this.
So that's my point. Kevin Durant is a much better natural-born scorer than LeBron James. He's got gifts that LeBron just never had in terms of being able to shoot from anywhere, pull up from anywhere, put the ball on the floor. The array of shots that he makes, the degree of difficulty of the shots that he makes, all of those things, putting the ball in the basket, it's not a question. Kevin Durant is a much better natural-born scorer than LeBron James. LeBron has developed to the point that he is now. So all the numbers that KD puts up, I don't want to call them empty, but they're not impacting winning. The things that Russell Westbrook's doing on the floor is impacting winning.
Yeah.
And I agree with what LeBron said a couple months ago. Kevin Durant's not going to fully get that championship pressure until LeBron retires. That's taking it a little too far because
it's definitely taking it a little
he's
bit
going to get it, but it's not going to be for a while. As long as LeBron is at the top of his game, like LeBron has to move into that Kobe sunset phase until Kevin Durant really starts getting that pressure.
Does he really though? I mean, because let's say the Heat go on and win the finals this year, and they beat the Spurs, so the Thunder lose in one of these next two games. Going into next season, I don't think people are saying, I don't know, LeBron, he needs 4 in a row to really, they're not going to be pressuring
LeBron is always going to be the sexier storyline. The Eastern Conference Finals have been horrible, and yet what are we hearing about? Lance Stevenson blowing in LeBron's ear.
Well, you act like people aren't talking about the West Finals too.
They're not talking about what the biggest storyline in this series is. And to me, that's the world's second best player at this point.
Playing like the second best player on his team.
There you go.
I'd agree. I think
But let Russell Westbrook take more shots than him, and then people are going to be torturing Westbrook.
Okay, calm down there. Calm down.
I will not calm down. You are not in control.
I think before the podcast we were talking. You said it kind of good. I thought he's kind of playing like it's a regular season game, energy wise, which is ironic because you kind of at this point you want him to play like he did in the regular season, as far as in January. Remember that January stretch with Westbrook out, and I don't think it's a Westbrook out thing. People may argue that. Because Westbrook's so energized and, impactful, maybe it takes away from Durant. I still think Durant could be a lot more impactful. But don't you want to see him play like those January games when Westbrook was out? I mean, he showed his full array of his entire game and where it had come to. And he's not showing that anymore.
Yeah, he's showing us a new move. He used to have our boss Mike Sherman called the international sign of distress, where he holds his arm all the way out and he's forced out to the 3-point line trying to get an entry pass. Well, now he extends his hand, he extends one finger, and he waves off the player. He waves on his teammate. And
I've seen him do that a couple times. How much?
Go ahead, go with it. That's his new move. Go with it. And I don't understand it. Like, he's telling Russ, go with it. He's telling Reggie Jackson, go with it. That's his best move. That's been his best move of the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, I don't know about that. It's been one of his worst moves because you still want him taking a majority of the shots. You still want him taking the big shots.
And by best, I mean worst.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, it's just he hasn't been consistent enough because he's had huge monster games in these playoffs. And guess what? They got a Game 6 coming up. He's been monstrous in Game 6.
And that's what I'm writing about for Friday's paper.
Memphis.
36
Remember
points.
Memphis, and it was right after the headline.
36
in
points.
Memphis, 36 and 10 rebounds.
Yep, we got to the line, 12 times?
No, 14 to 15.
14 to 15 at the line.
And then had a good Game 7, 33 and 8. Shot 12 of 18, made all 5 of his threes. Was very good in Game 7 of that series.
Yep. Game 6 of the Clippers, 39 and 15.
Game 3 of the Clippers. Remember I'm going through his playoffs, and because you're trying to bust out the flamethrower on the second best player in the league, I'm trying to,
See, that's what I don't like. See, that's what I'm saying. His resume, his regular season resume is phenomenal. He is the second best player in the world, but we can't continue to say, "Oh, he's the second best player in the world," so it's okay. Just go out there and be passive.
No,
You're
mistaken what I'm doing right now.
I don't know. That's what you just said. That's the mindset that like people are having with Kevin Durant. Like he's above. I'm looking. He's above being asked for more.
No, you're right, and I agree with you. He needs to be a lot more consistent. Needs to be a lot more energized and a lot more aggressive. But I'm going through the playoffs, and we're looking at good games, bad games, real quick. Game 3 against the Clippers when they won out in L.A. That was a huge game. 36, 8, and 6, shot 14 to 24. And these are kind of the games you're talking, I think. Game 4 against the Clippers, they lose, but he goes for 40, shoots 50%. You think, hey, that's a great game. But remember in that game he had 8 turnovers, went 1 of 7 from 3, and remember Chris Paul guarding him in the 4th?
Right.
That changed the game.
You're not doing anything to help your cause.
No, like I said, I'm just throwing evidence out. I agree with you on most of your points. I think maybe at times you're a little too harsh. 39 in Game 7 of that series. Game 6 of that series when he had 27. No. There was no Game 7. He had 39 and 16 in Game 6
39 and 16
in the closeout.
in Game 6. He's been phenomenal in Game 6s. In these Game 6s.
They're going to need him again against Memphis or against the Spurs on. What was that, Saturday, 7:30 tip?
Yep.
It's going to be good. What I think we've gone a little long on Durant. You look like you want to go some more.
I'm just disappointed in the MVP. And I'm more disappointed in the fact that nobody is really holding him accountable. And everyone wants to look at Reggie Jackson and Thabo Sefolosha and Caron Butler and Derek Fisher and Kendrick Perkins and Scott Brooks. And rarely do I, at least the people I hear, I don't hear the things that I read. I don't hear anyone. J.A. Adonde wrote a great piece on ESPN.com. I think it was either at the start of this series or toward the end of the Clippers series. I think it was the start of this series where he basically called out Kevin Durant and said he needs to be a better defender. Short of that, I haven't read or heard anyone else holding Kevin Durant's feet to the fire. And to me, I just don't understand why people are looking so much at role players for this team when it's a top-heavy roster, which we've talked about, and you're getting exactly what you need out of the most erratic player in the league in Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, like if they lose, this isn't a LeBron against the Magic when he was in Cleveland type series. Remember that?
Right.
Where it was just like he's doing so much, but he just doesn't have enough help. I think if Durant's playing at his peak top level, that January level that we've talked about, or other levels from his career, even other levels in different postseasons that he's been at, I think the Thunder win this series.
Let me ask you this. If you had to rank the reasons why the Thunder is losing this series, what would your top 5 reasons be?
All right.
Or you could even go 3 if 5 is too many.
Hey, by the way, we're passing downtown Austin right now. That building looks like an owl. It is cool, isn't it?
Which building you looking at?
Look right there, left. You see the
one
two
with the
eyes?
spiky tops?
Yeah, it's an owl. It's like the designer purposely made it look like an owl. You see it?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
I don't see an owl though. I mean,
look, the corner of the building's the nose. Come on.
Swaggy D, you see that? Yeah. You see? I mean, I know you see the building.
Swaggy D, tell me you see it.
Okay.
Oh, you. All right. Anyway, how I'd rank it? I'd rank it. Would you say Serge Ibaka missing the first 2 games has got to be a reason?
Yeah.
And then he's still kind of limited. So I think that's one of the top reasons. The Spurs being ridiculously good, especially at home. I mean, they've been incredible. We got to recognize that.
Okay.
And I'd agree with you. I'd throw Durant right there with the fact that he's been okay, Durant. He's been, he's been getting by, but he hasn't been like, hey, this is Western Conference Finals. I need my first title. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Which, guess what? Remember how long it took LeBron to take that and do that? It was the year against...
LeBron never had Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, and Reggie Jackson. Like, let's stop comparing
LeBron
2014 Kevin Durant to 2008
No,
LeBron
how
James.
about 2011 LeBron James, who had Dwayne Wade, and Dwayne Wade was incredible against the Mavs in that series.
Yes, he was.
He had Chris Bosh, who was, who has always been a very solid player, and they had a great team, and LeBron disappeared. So stuff has happened to LeBron, like that. Remember Wade in that series? Wade was just as good as Westbrook's been in this postseason in that series against Dallas.
He played through injury.
Yeah.
Remember he had that little knee injury in that series? He played through injury.
Yeah.
Wade was phenomenal in that
and then another thing, I think Scott Brooks has had a fine series. He made the proper adjustments going into Game 3, but maybe I would have liked to see Reggie Jackson in the starting lineup to start the series without Ibaka. But I mean, I agree with you. I don't think Durant's struggles have been talked about that much. But now that we've talked about this for 3 hours now,
okay.
How about we talk about the role players that you seem to not want to talk about?
Here we go with the role players, and I think most people especially fans. I think most fans' ranking would probably be Scott Brooks 1, Scott Brooks 2, Scott Brooks 3, Kendrick Perkins 4, Reggie Jackson 5.
I'm not hearing a lot of Perkins.
Perks played well.
Well, he didn't have a great game. Played great, but
he didn't have a good game in Game 5.
The issue.
But he's been pretty good this postseason, and he's actually been solid this series.
Yeah, I mean I don't really see how you can criticize him. I mean he hasn't done anything huge, but not negative. Anyway, I mean let's just look strictly going into Game 6. The problems is heading into Game 6. Manu is a problem, and Reggie Jackson got torched by him.
Okay.
He
So now you wanna okay, are we transitioning this segment to
just
torching Reggie Jackson segment of the program?
No, it's just figuring
Your
out
turn,
adjustments.
Slater.
Figuring out adjustments. I mean, you know what?
Guess what Reggie Jackson did? Guess what Reggie Jackson did?
Went 0-5 after the first quarter and
he
got
gutted
torched.
it out on a bum right ankle.
Congrats.
Okay, so it's Reggie Jackson is congrats. No. Serge Ibaka does it. It's like, hey, Serge Ibaka is Willis Reed. Reggie Jackson does it. It's like, congrats. Play better defense.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just talking adjustments or stuff that's underneath to do, and it's figure out how to guard Manu. Reggie Jackson seems to be a solid, help side defender as far as he can get some steals. He's got long arms, and he even guarded Danny Green well for 2 games. But the Spurs really figured out a way to get Manu attacking Reggie yesterday, and Jackson's not very good guarding people that drive well. And Manu drives, in that lefty quick twitch way it's rare and it's tough to guard, and it's an issue for everyone on the Thunder. But because you have to have Reggie Jackson on the floor, you have to have his offense on the floor for 35-plus minutes, he's got to figure out a way on a bum ankle to play better defense.
So I wasn't sitting with you guys last night, but apparently Trammell has a solution for Manu.
Oh, geez. Well, this is Trammell's solution to world hunger. It's
Number-
where is Tabo's evolution?
Number 2, is that
More
Tabo's number
Tabo.
2?
He just loves Tabo. If Blake Griffin's dominating Serge Ibaka in the Clippers series,
That's
he'd
right.
say,
Tabo
throw
is number
Tabo
25
on.
now. Caron
Yeah.
Butler's number 2.
Yeah, well, no more number 2. No more number 2. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think Tabo's. I said he'd played his last minutes in the Thunder uniform. That obviously turned out to be wrong. I didn't think Brooks would throw him out there and mop up duty.
Hey, you should have seen, because I'm sitting kind of close to the bench, the Thunder's bench. You should have seen how fast Tabo jumped off the bench when he called his name.
Really?
I mean, like I said on the last podcast, Tabo, I give him a lot of credit for staying mentally engaged and with it. Like, he hasn't given up on this team. A lot of props go to Tabo for being a true professional. That guy was ready to get in the game in a 25-point game.
I'm gonna go inside the mind of Tabo right now. You know what he's thinking?
What's he thinking?
He going, in his mind, he's going, man, this is Western Conference Finals. We're on TNT right now. Oh, Brooks put me in. I gotta go get my money.
He did come in and try to start jacking.
Yeah, he was jacking. He picked somebody. I was
one.
waiting for him to hit that fadeaway that he airballed. Look at the TNT cameras. Go, hey, Charlotte Bobcats, pay me. Pay me. Because this guy's playing for a contract now. It's pride and it's a deal, isn't it? I mean, because as we talked about, he ain't coming back to the Thunder.
Hey, I tweeted this thing. You know, there's a report Anthony Morrow is opting out.
He'd be solid, although I think Mike Miller would be a better option. Anthony Morrow's career 40% three shooter though.
I would love to see Anthony Morrow standing in the corners for this team.
Yeah. Hey, how about wait, say that again, Swaggy D?
Oh, Swaggy D!
Say it, Swaggy.
I said, where's KD going to stand then?
Ooh.
Durant was standing in the corner a little bit yesterday, huh?
Oh, my goodness.
Hey,
Swaggy
but no more
D
Durant.
coming with it.
No more.
Slater's trying to do Slater. See, Slater is the voice of reason in this vehicle right now because he's trying to get us off KD. That already didn't work out well for us one time this
No, because I think
postseason.
the listeners have had their fill of it. I think
Well,
they want to hear.
the smart listeners know that I'm speaking the truth.
I think they want to hear about Caron Butler and Derek Fisher, who I believe, even the guy that's been ripping on Durant and saying role players don't matter.
I never said role players don't matter.
Okay, well, what did you say this morning about Caron Butler and Derek Fisher?
They've been awful.
Awful enough where you'd make any kind of rotation change?
Who you gonna play?
PJ, a three.
And he's supposed to be better?
No, I mean, not necessarily. To be honest, he's not overwhelmed in his minutes. How about more Jeremy Lamb?
I wouldn't mind seeing Jeremy Lamb, but you just talked about Reggie Jackson getting torched defensively. What you think gonna happen to Jeremy Lamb?
Most likely getting torched. No, I mean, that's the thing about personnel in this series. I mean, as much as people are like, where's this guy? Where's that guy? Why can't he play a few more minutes? It's about the guys that are on the court for 42 minutes a game, not maybe 12 or maybe 17. I do think Lamb should play a little bit more. I think Butler just doesn't look like he has it. Especially
Someone said they didn't have. I read somewhere they said they must not have had good reception in San Antonio. You know, him dialing up those long distance threes, a thing he does after making 3 pointers.
Yeah. He hasn't been good in these playoffs. He was so good in the last month of the regular season that I think maybe it was the first month Brooks had ever had him as a coach, and it was like, wow, this guy's going to need to play 30 minutes a night in the playoffs. And, you know, he's hitting. Remember, he was hitting like 6 of 6 from 3, and he was having crazy games. I think he shot 40% from 3, which has never really been Caron Butler in his career. And I think it might have come back to haunt the Thunder a little bit in the playoffs because he hasn't been good.
No, I don't know what you do if you're Scott Brooks. Because if you go to those young guys, PJ3 and Lamb, I would trust Lamb more than PJ3, but neither one of them are great options.
Yeah.
Not against this team.
No, it's just Stars playing better. But the thing is, this series is so weird. I mean, they could just come out and Thunder. I mean, what do you think the Thunder will be favored by in Game 6?
3, or maybe 5.
And if you're if you were a betting man, I mean, you probably think the Thunder are going to.
Yeah, I'd put my money on the Thunder.
Yeah, big. And it's not because Scott Brooks is going to play Perry Jones more. It's that his stars are going to play more energized, and his team's going to. I don't know. This series is weird. It really is.
Tim Duncan called it the craziest series he's ever been a part of.
Which is incredible statement coming from a guy that I think is like 5th all time in playoff games. I mean, how many playoff series do you think Tim Duncan's played? At least, what? It's his 16th year in the league. He's probably been in the playoffs every single season. This has got to be at least his like 40-something series, right?
Yeah.
For him to say that tells you something. You done talking Game 6? You want to do some of these questions you got on Twitter?
Yeah, I asked for some fun questions on Twitter before the last episode. We didn't really get to them, so we got some questions from some Twitter followers that I'd like to get to.
All right. I'm going to start it with the one from Justin Peabody. This one seems like a pretty simple one. Who's funnier, Greg Popovich or Scott Brooks?
Funnier.
Greg Popovich is like ruthless funny. Like last night what he did.
Greg Popovich had me cracking up last night. Poor reporter from San Antonio asked him a totally reasonable question.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of worded it in a way that allowed Popovich to do that, but it wasn't like, I mean, Greg Popovich is the only coach in the league that would have ever done what he did, which is,
if you're by your computer, pause the podcast and go look up Greg Popovich, Game 5 post-game reporter. It was unbelievable how he owned that dude.
He just called him out.
The answer to the question is Greg Popovich.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but I will say Scott Brooks is funnier than people realize. And because when the camera goes on, he goes robot mode.
Yeah.
As
soon as the
we
cameras
need to
go
play
off,
better.
Scott Brooks shows his personality, and he's
a
great
right when
guy. He's funny.
My favorite is when he's walking
Easy
up.
to
It's
talk
like
to.
it's at the practice facility. He's walking up. He kind of has a little swaggy walk to him. You know how he kind of walks with that swaggy D mentality.
Okay.
Like, and then he's coming up. He's joking. He'll like crack a joke at one of the reporters, or kind of a little shot. And then suddenly he's still talking, and then you put him up, and then the camera light turns on, and you just see his it's almost like his eyes go robot mode. And it's like, yeah, Scott, what? So what you guys do at practice? We need to play better. It's like, oh, okay. And then like they turn off, and he's like, hey man, what's up? Hey, you going to the game
What do you
tonight?
need to do again, Scotty?
Offense leads to points. Oh man.
Offense leads to points. Thanks, Coach.
Defense is where we take pride. Go Thunder. And then the camera turns off, and he's like trying to ask about something, or he's joking about this or that. But it is what it is.
Didn't know we were gonna have a Scott Brooks cameo on this podcast. Never know what you're gonna get with the Thunder buddies.
Hey, Brooks, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you again. So yeah, Popovich is the answer to that.
What else you got?
Man, that's a long one. Best interaction or story involving a player or coach.
Who asked that?
Oh, Brandon Payne.
Brandon Payne. Oh, Russell Westbrook's got to be in the top 3.
Russell Westbrook may be the top 3. And how about the Utah one? What?
You know the best thing about the Utah one?
Everyone's heard the Utah one, right? I mean, it's when the guy, the Utah reporter.
Did you guys win this game, or did the Jazz? Did you guys lose this game, or did the Jazz win it?
Yeah,
that was the question.
That's pretty funny because. Okay, look, I don't think it's a good question, but at the same time, I know what the guy's getting at.
Everyone knew what the guy was getting at.
But the fact is, if you give Westbrook, after a disappointing loss on the road, if you give him an out like that where literally, like if you literally take a look at that question, did you guys lose the game or did the Jazz win it? I mean, it's kind of deserving of that response. But Westbrook's the only one that would. What?
The best part about that?
No, you want to know the best part about that is all the memes and everything that's ever come from that, it has you in the background like this. Huh?
Nah.
Confused?
Nah, I wasn't confused. That's what I'm trying to explain to you the background. As Russell Westbrook and this Thunder team this is really the only team in the league that does it. The PR staff makes the media wait for all the players to get fully dressed before they talk. And so Russell Westbrook's going through his elaborate post-game routine, putting lotion on his face, brushing his hair, whatever. And as he's doing that, it was an embarrassing loss to Utah that night.
Yeah.
As he's doing that, I'm standing next to Leslie McCaslin, the sideline reporter for the Thunder. And I said to Leslie, this is about to be epic. I said that to Leslie. And we got through it. We got through about the first 2 minutes. And then sure enough, here comes that question. And everyone in the room might have been surprised, but I wasn't. I'm like,
you're
I knew it
you're
was
over there
happening.
giggling. We can see you giggling.
I was not giggling.
You were
That's
giggling.
a common misconception. I was not giggling. I was really thinking this dude is ridiculous. But
With a questionnaire or
no, Westbrook.
Okay.
Westbrook. Everybody thought it was funny. I was just like, he didn't have to do that to the poor guy. But
No, he didn't.
he's
Russell Westbrook.
but I wasn't laughing. I was just kind of like, well, here it is. And if I was kind of smiling a little bit, I was looking at Leslie like, I told you this was about to be epic. And then it just set the internet on fire, which was crazy because, you know, in Utah, you're an hour behind, 2 hours behind the East Coast. And by the time all of that happened, remember, they got to wait for these guys to get fully dressed, showered, fully dressed.
Yeah.
And so it's probably like 1 a.m. East Coast time at this point. And, you know, I tweeted something and everybody else started probably tweeting something. And then it just kind of spread. And then the next morning, like, people were talking about it. It was all over. Like, it shut the internet down at that point.
Quick question, and I do not want to go.
Is it about Kevin Durant?
No. Yeah, right. No more of that. Were you surprised that went online? And I mean, because he used the N-word, didn't he?
Yep.
Were you surprised? I mean, he didn't get any grief for that, because like you said, it blew up the internet that day.
Who was that got in trouble for it? That was Matt Barnes.
Yeah.
That was Matt Barnes when he said something on Twitter. When Ibaka got into it with Blake Griffin and Matt Barnes stepped in.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, y'all are tripping. He said, I'm tired. No, he said, I'm tired of. That's what Westbrook said.
Yeah,
Y'all
he said what?
Matt Barnes said, I'm tired of protecting y'all.
Yeah.
And he got fined. I forgot what the fine was.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he didn't at least get like a fine. Because remember Kobe on the bench with the
he had a
homophobic
slur. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I say I was surprised, you know, because the market size, Oklahoma City's not a lot of eyes on it.
You know what? I think if he did it this year, after everything that's happened,
right,
with the Riley Cooper and then obviously the Sterling, and,
right,
and it seems like people are more aware of stuff like that. I bet he would have got fined if that happened this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, how about I'm going with my favorite interactions, and how about Steven Adams? I love Steven Adams interviews, and I know
they're solid.
They always have these little funny moments because he's just quirky. He grew up in a different place, and you know he's not afraid to like call people, and it's not necessarily even calling people out. I think he's like innocently doing this. But I mean, remember we were in L.A. and this reporter, he's got his little handheld camera, and he's kind of giggly, and he's always smiling, and he asks like really strange questions. And he started asking Adams a question, and you just see Adams' face like looking at this guy who's giggling while he's talking, like, and he's just looking around. He's like, and he looks at Matt, the PR guy, and he goes, "Man, this guy's starting to freak me out. Why does he keep smiling?" And he says it right in the guy's face, and it's just like he always does that. He'll like call out people, or like, remember to Barry, he was like, "Calm down, bro." When Barry was like asking a question really loud, he tells him to calm down. What was the one? Shout out Andrew Gilman, Fox Sports. Remember Andrew Gilman earlier this year? What did he say to Adams? I can't remember.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There was something about like cute or man, I can't remember the story now. I feel dumb for bringing it up on the podcast. But he said something, and Gilman and him had a hilarious back and forth.
I vaguely remember what you're saying.
Yeah. Man, I wish I remember the story. If Andrew Gilman, if you're listening, You got to tell me the story, and then I'm going to tell it on the next podcast. But any Steven Adams interaction's hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you seen my sister, bro? That's what he said to me earlier this year. I was asking about all the elbows and different things he's taken and why he's able to take so much punishment and not retaliate. He just goes, "Have you seen my sister, bro?"
Hey, that dunk he had in
and then he
Game
said,
5 was nice.
Google her. He said, Google her.
You see that dunk he had coming from the baseline?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yesterday.
Man.
Dude,
What else
he's
you got?
so athletic. He's like doesn't understand how athletic he is.
Yeah. We want to see more of it. What else you got?
Who? Oh no, we already kind of went through that one.
Oh, pull out a good one.
Favorite and least favorite NBA halftime performances. You like that one?
Oh man. Was that last year or this
From
year?
Cole
I
Smith.
was all over the Olate dogs.
They're all right. I mean, it's just a bunch of dogs kind of jumping around.
This been a long year. I don't even remember if that was last year or this year, but they were my favorite. They were definitely my favorite. Least favorite?
I know my least favorite.
I
I got two least favorites.
know
You want
what
me
you're
to
gonna
go?
say for least favorite.
I got two. You want me to go?
You're gonna say Zumba.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I actually don't really know their names. I'm just gonna describe them. Well,
Well,
actually, I think I know one of the names, like the Power Team. Remember the Power Team comes out?
Yeah,
there?
they were definitely the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, they come out and like they
Where
like,
they're
break a
breaking,
couple
like,
boards.
fake stuff, a bunch of
yeah,
fake
they had some
aluminum.
guy like
and-
look. Yeah, and it was like trying to act like it was the craziest
yeah,
thing
the power
ever.
team they need to retire.
Yeah.
Stick to their day job or something.
So I didn't think that was good. And then the guy that was doing it last night, I've seen him like twice this year. Look, it's crazy. I'm sure it's it's impressive what he's doing. He's like stacks 100 chairs and he's like, probably 70 feet in the air, like balancing on like the leg of a chair.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me uncomfortable, especially when I sit courtside. I think he might fall, and I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to see a guy die in front of me.
Right. It's impressive what he does, but it's not really entertaining.
It's not entertaining, and I'm
And
uncomfortable. I'm
it's
literally
kind of
like,
creepy
what if that?
because, like, you're right. If he falls, he might die.
Yeah, like legitimately, like, and that, I can't believe the NBA is. I mean, they must be so confident in that guy because what if he fell and was critically injured, or
Yeah,
that,
you
that
would think like
that
all
would
the
delay
fans.
a Western Conference Finals game by like.
You would think all the fans would have to sign a waiver before seeing that act.
Yeah.
Because if someone did die, like, you got kids in the front row
Yeah.
who's just gonna come in and see a guy break his neck.
And then suddenly that like.
I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, and suddenly that becomes like the buzz in the arena, and it's just like they probably would have to delay the game like at least an hour, and it'd just be.
Nah, I think they'd just roll him off the court. TNT
Oh
paid a
my
lot
g-
of money for that
that's-
game,
That's
man.
That's pretty disrespectful for Mr. Mayberry.
Well,
Did you
I
just say
mean,
they'd roll him off the
They
court?
roll him off the court.
Well, it would just change the tenor of the
It
entire
would. Everybody in the
arena.
whole second half would be thinking about that. But guess what? The show must go on. Next question.
All right. John Swanfield. With Serge's left hand tied behind his back, could both of you beat him in a 2-versus-1 game?
Easy. We'd kill him. We would crush him.
I mean, just because of the left hand tied behind his back, we'd have to play smart basketball. You'd need to get me the rock a lot.
Oh, boy.
Just kidding. But with a hand tied behind your back, that limits you so much in basketball, even if you're not a dominant lefty or righty player.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
What
I
could
think
he
we take,
do that would make it tough for us?
block our shots, force the ball to you, and then just start throwing your
First of
shots
all,
into
I'd
the
be
crowd.
carrying us.
Just
Let's
throwing
get
your
that
shots
straight.
in the crowd. And there would be a crowd. Let's make that clear.
We probably wouldn't get a rebound.
Yeah, rebounds would be tough.
It'd be tough, yeah.
My question is, look, he's not a great one-on-one scorer anyways. I mean, Matt Bonner was mildly D'ing him up last night. So if he has one hand and we got two guys trapping him,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough for him
And
to
he's
dribble.
not the best dribbler
No.
you've ever seen, so
So one hand tied behind his back.
I think we'd win.
Yeah, I do too.
It might be close, though.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we're going to be getting out rebounded pretty severely.
Yeah.
Who's the tougher / more intimidating interview, Westbrook or Pop? That's from Oz.net. We talked about that a little on the Google Hangout. I think Popovich is a better interview, and can be more intimidating because you can get something good out of him, but you got to have a good question, and you got to know sometimes I'll just start asking a question and figure out where I'm going from there. If I'm asking Greg Popovich a question, I'm sitting there thinking all right, how exactly am I wording this?
And he still might embarrass you.
Yeah, exactly. With Westbrook, you know what you're getting. Don't want to be here. I don't know why you exist.
Right.
Why are you in my locker room? Why are you asking me things? Please get out of here.
That pretty much sums up Russell Westbrook pre and post game.
Yeah, I mean, and so he answers it quickly. He answers it why? He'll blow up occasionally, but a lot of times it's just quick answers that don't tell you anything, and we had just waited 45 minutes to get nothing.
Yeah.
So,
but he loves talking about his teammates. That's the go-to person if you want to say if Serge has a great night or KD has a great night, someone like that.
He's still not giving anything great.
He's not giving anything great.
He'll be pleasant, you asked me about Serge.
If you want something safe, if you want to throw a safe question out at Russell Westbrook, you're not going to get embarrassed. He's not going to snap at you. Ask about one of his teammates.
I agree. All right. You want another one?
What else you got?
What is something the San Antonio Arena had that you wish the Peak had? Gary Warren. You got to go first.
Good question.
It's a good question.
The
Beale Street Flippers.
There is a unfortunate circumstance that as beat writers, we never really get to see the concourse. So I gotta say that.
I do occasionally.
Yeah, this is your first year on the beat. I think you've done a lot more of venturing out in the cities and exploring than I have, especially over the last several years. But you rarely get to see concourses. You just come from the press entrance, go down an elevator or some stairs, go to the press room, and then it's press room to the court back to the press room back to the entrance.
Darnell Mayberry is basically telling you right now he does not enjoy doing life. He just job.
I'm just telling you my routine.
Job,
so if you're asking me about the concourse, beat writers rarely see the concourse. Yeah. So I can't compare the Peak to really any other concourse.
We're kind of talking in-game atmosphere.
Well, I'm just explaining that from a visual standpoint, what other arenas have to offer in their buildings, I can't really speak to that in terms of what they have in the concourse. The Peak versus the AT&T Center on the outside, the AT&T Center is not a very attractive building. The Peak kills it in terms of aesthetics.
Yeah.
So
parking though, that's one thing I'll chime in. I think the parking's better at AT&T Center.
They got a lot more parking.
They got so much room.
I mean it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's out of downtown.
So they got huge parking lots, which makes it easy for fans. We're not even talking about media. They got huge parking lots for everyone. So it's easy to park and walk right to the arena. But the one thing I think in terms of the game atmosphere, all of that, there's two things. One is they got party zones in AT&T Center, kind of like at Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah,
they got party decks. That would be pretty cool.
You ever been to a Cowboys game in Cowboy Stadium?
Yeah.
That's a crazy. That's a show. They put on an event there. Most of the time you ain't even watching the game. You watch it on the video board a little bit, but
yeah.
The Pepsi Party Center.
The other thing, and this is a little off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah.
4 banners. 4 championship banners.
Do you not like the 4 Northwest Division title banners hanging up in the Peak?
Give me an NBA title.
If the Thunder win, I got a quick question. If the Thunder win an NBA title, do they stop putting up Northwest Division banners?
No. And I actually challenged Sam Presti on this at one point. I think it was last year. And he made a great point. I mean, everyone has them. They're just in different forms. And last night at the game, I was actually looking up at the rafters, and I saw the way the Spurs do it. I mean, they've won so many. I think they got to this year was their
Let me
17th division.
Yeah, let me guess how
championship.
they do that because I didn't look. Do they have one and then they just list the years?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they won so many that they got 2 banners now because all the years have spilled over into a second banner.
Oh my.
So, and they're like small banners.
Yeah.
The retired jerseys, the championship banners, the NBA championship banners are huge, and then the division banners are kind of smaller with the years on them. So, I'd like to see those 2 things: a party deck, which the Barclays Center has as well, and a championship banner.
All
What
right.
you got?
How about a lunatic mascot just roaming the arena? Just
Rumble doesn't qualify.
Rumble, which I don't mind.
Anthony Slater
I
is terrified of is it the Coyote? What is?
Yeah, he looks like Wile E. Coyote,
What is-
except
what is,
he
the
took a
Spurs
drip
mascot?
of acid or something. Dude,
He's terrified of that team's
have
mascot.
you seen him? He stares me down.
He's a mascot.
He's freaky. And you know what? I think it freaks out the other team. If they could craze up Rumble a little bit. Rumble likes to break dance and he's real joyful, which I'm sure the crowd loves. This guy's just shooting freaking t-shirt cannons into the crowd, staring people down. Man,
Have you had a nightmare about the Coyote yet in this
I think
series?
a few. I think the Coyote's hallucinating stuff about me, and that's why he's always staring me down. I've had mascots staring me down all year. Every place I go, they're always.
I think it's in your head, Slater.
It might be. You could be right. Anyways,
One more question.
all right. Okay, last one.
Last
Yeah,
one.
Let's do the last one. I gotta find a good one.